With an acting career spanning 5 decades and some bizarre bit part roles that you wouldn't even imagine he's done, Bryan Cranston is a legendary figure in Hollywood. He's best known for his portrayal of Walter White in Breaking Bad and more recently, Better Call Saul. But here are some things that we're quite certain you never knew about the 66-year-old actor, starting with a delayed acting career. If you saw him in Breaking Bad for the first time, then he may come across as an actor who doesn't take no for an answer, but that wasn't always the case with Bryan Cranston. He wanted to pursue an acting career, but his parents didn't want him to have one in Hollywood, so he had to settle for college and earned a 2-year degree in, wait for it, police science. We're sure there's a joke in there somewhere, but Cranston didn't officially start acting until after college. That's definitely surprising because many actors tend to start young, but it's not like he missed out on roles. The man's been acting for more than 40 years. Up next, Cranston was a murder suspect. Yeah, we know all about his run-ins with the law on Breaking Bad, but it seems that the actor in real life also doesn't like to keep his hands clean. After leaving college, Bryan and his brother decided to hit the road, and before doing that, they saved up by working in a restaurant. By the time they left, the chef had been murdered, and that meant both the Cranston brothers were suspects in the case for a while. We're not sure what happened after that, but they got their names cleared. Maybe they knew exactly which lawyer to call. Plus, his love affair with the Dodgers. The 66-year-old actor is a huge baseball lover and an extremely loyal supporter of the Los Angeles Dodgers. In fact, he's a collector of memorabilia, and he's often been seen in the stadium, and on one occasion, he was even ejected from the stadium. All that probably got resolved because his wife threw him a birthday party for his 40th at the Dodger Stadium, and we're pretty sure he enjoyed it a lot. In fact, talk about being more famous than Tom Cruise in any setting. Cranston actually got applauded while Tom got booed by the Dodgers crowd. Oh, and Cranston's a Power Ranger. Did you know that Bryan Cranston did voiceovers on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? But that's not the only reason why we're calling him a Power Ranger. Do you remember how the Blue Ranger was actually called Billy Cranston? Well, that's not a coincidence because the team decided to name the character after him, and that's why Cranston's actually a Power Ranger along with Heisenberg as well. Not to mention, he's got a Breaking Bad tattoo. If your performance gets heralded by someone like Anthony Hopkins, it means that you've done something truly special. That's exactly what we witnessed with Cranston's portrayal of Walter White in Breaking Bad. The chemistry teacher turned drug kingpin gave us one of the most memorable characters of all time. Cranston immortalized that character by commemorating the show and its impact on his life by inking a tattoo of the periodic table inspired logo of the show. It reads BRBA, and it's on the inside finger of his right hand, so he doesn't have to worry about covering up the gazillion other roles that he might have to do. Also, did you know he's not only an actor? Yeah, he's got some fabulous acting credentials, but did you know that Bryan Cranston directed an episode of the hilarious sitcom The Office? Mind-blowing, isn't it? Well, not exactly, because Cranston's creative interests and talent usually go under the radar. This was a season 9 episode called Work Bus that he directed back in 2012 and follows the Dunder Mifflin employees on a moving bus. But that's not the only instance of Cranston spending time behind the camera. He also directed a feature film called Last Chance, along with episodes of Breaking Bad and Malcolm in the Middle. On to Cranston's steamy honeymoon in Europe. The 66-year-old actor has been married for more than 3 decades now, and may the happy couple go on to hit a few more decades while they're at it. But our story takes place during Cranston's honeymoon in Europe, where his travel agent gave him a tip about spicing things up and taking them to the next level on their honeymoon. Cranston was advised to do the scenic train journey from Switzerland to Italy in a rental car because it goes through the Alps. Why? Well, the travel agent's tip was for the happy couple to get intimate during the long tunnels, and he told him how the 3rd tunnel would be the longest one and you'll have ample time to get undressed and go about your business. If things went well, this wouldn't have made the list, so by the time Cranston and his wife made it to the 3rd tunnel, things didn't go as smoothly as they had planned. Well, because car sex can be tough in a tiny stick-shift rental car. Oh, and time passes fairly quickly because even though the 3rd tunnel was supposed to be the longest, the couple was caught having in the car in bright sunlight because the train came out of the tunnel and there were other cars parked right next to them. Awkward, but so hilarious. and a fabulous sitcom CV. He might be most famously known for the Walter White role, but Bryan Cranston is actually a comedian by trade and appeared in some of the most famous sitcoms of all time. Cranston actually played Hal in Malcolm in the Middle, another hilarious show, and another famous role he's mostly known for. If you've seen Seinfeld and a certain Dr. Tim Whatley seemed familiar, that's because he was. Cranston played that role and he played it to perfection. Oh, and if you haven't watched Seinfeld, what are you doing with your life? But that's not all. We've already seen how he directed an episode of The Office, but he was also Hammond Druthers on How I Met Your Mother, the famous architect who loved to shoot down Ted's ideas and had a knack for building some weird models. Add to that, Cranston's a cook. Yeah, we're not sure if Cranston knows how to fix dinner, but surprisingly, he knows how to cook meth. That's pretty outrageous, we know, but Vince Gilligan likes commitment to the craft and made sure that Bryan learned how to cook meth with help from the DEA agents during the shooting of Breaking Bad. So while he knows how to make it, Cranston wasn't allowed to cook it for the show, and we can't say for sure whether he's tried his hand at it at any other time of his life, but we're gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he hasn't. Moving on, he's great at ping pong. A man of multiple talents, Bryan Cranston is a ping pong aficionado, and we're not just saying that. The actor keeps a table in his yard, and as per GQ magazine, Cranston is pretty good. In fact, the interview noted that he wiped the floor with a visitor in 2 games, and he was putting on a show for the magazine because it wasn't just winning, it was showboating. He also hosted Matthew McConaughey and Clayton Kershaw's 6th annual Ping Pong for a Purpose tournament, which helped raise money for disadvantaged children, but it was hardly an exhibition. Also, Cranston found love on set. It might not be as crazy as other things on the list, but we still think it's pretty rare for a hostage to marry their captor, even if they're just acting. But did you know that Cranston actually met his current wife, Robin Dearden, while filming Airwolf in 1986? The 66-year-old held a gun to her head, but apparently there was some pent-up intimacy which turned into love and brought us one of the longest-lasting relationships in Hollywood. Before we wrap it up, Cranston's encounter with Charles Manson. In 2017, after Charles Manson's death, Cranston revealed that he had a brief encounter with the infamous cult leader sometime in the late 60s as he ran into a little bearded guy with big dark eyes and wild hair when he and his cousin were horseback riding. It easily could have been someone else, but Cranston recognized the convict and still shudders thinking about that moment and the man who was responsible for some of the most gruesome murders in American history. Finally, learning something from Hammond Druthers. Most actors learn skills from different roles, and Cranston's not any different. He learned to skate for a role and he knows how to cook meth, but it's rarer to see an actor learn something from one of their characters. Cranston designed his beachfront property in LA and turned what was once a shack into a fantastic house. It'd be unfair to suggest that the actor learned this art from his How I Met Your Mother character Druthers, but he was an architect. Maybe he picked up a thing or two from Ted Mosby. Either way, he's super crafty. That's a wrap for this video. Which of these facts about Bryan Cranston blew your mind? Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.